Hi everyone, and welcome back to Kids Corner. Today, we're going to hear the story of the Exile and the Return. And this story picks up from last week where we learned that the people of God built the temple, that the 10 best ways and the Ark of the Covenant were kept inside. And this is where they believed that God lived and where God was. So let's all take a deep breath and continue this story. This is the desert. The desert is a dangerous place. We're journeying here again today for our story, but we have to be careful because when the wind blows, the shape of the desert changes and we can lose our way. This is Jerusalem. Here is the wall. Inside is the temple that the people built for God. Here are the people of God. They knew that God was in the temple, but they also thought that the temple was the only place where you could pray to God, because they thought that the temple was the only place God was. This is Haran. This is Babylon. This is the Tigris River. And this is the Euphrates River. People thought that the wall of the city would protect them from everything. But then the Assyrians came. They attacked the city. It was a terrible time. People fought and some starved, but finally the Assyrians went away. But then the Babylonians came, and they did not go away. Their king wanted the city of Jerusalem for himself. They broke down the walls and they burned the temple. They took many of the people away. Only a few were left in the land. The soldiers marched God's people away from Jerusalem. They looked back at the smoke of the burning city and wondered if they would ever see it again. As they walked through the desert, they had to get up when the soldiers said. They had to eat what the soldiers said. They had to go where the soldiers said. They had to go to bed when the soldiers said. They grew very weary. Some died. It took a long time. The people of God were in exile. They couldn't go home. When they came to Babylon, they hung their harps on the weeping willow trees, and they sang sad songs. They dreamed of Jerusalem and the temple, but they couldn't go back. They even faced Jerusalem when they said their prayers. But slowly, God's people began to understand that God was here in this place too. God's presence came to them as they gathered and read the scriptures, told old stories, and prayed. The king of Babylon allowed many of God's people to work, and they set up little stores and worked for the king. It was a shock when the king of Persia came with his army and took Babylon for himself. The new king began to let some of the people go back to Jerusalem. Some went with Ezra, and they began to rebuild the temple. More were allowed to go back. They went with Nehemiah. They rebuilt the walls all around the city. people of God were no longer in exile. They could go home again. But do you know what happened? Not all of them went home. Now they knew that God was in the strange and foreign land. So some stayed because God was there too. Now I wonder what part of this story you liked the best. I wonder where you are in this story. And I wonder if we can leave anything out and still have all we need. Thank you all for joining me again this week. Remember, if you were inspired by any part of the story or any part of your wonderings at the end of the story, I would love to see any artwork that you do. If you paint, color, draw, or sculpt, please have an adult in your home take a picture of it and send it to me, and I can share it with all of our church family on Facebook. Remember to have an adult in your home help you to click the link in the description to take you to the song for today. I can't wait to meet you right back here next week. Take care, and bye for now.